no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
Hey, welcome everybody.
I can't believe we used that again.
Assemble.
I thought we were using the other countdown this time. We already got a copyright strike last week for
It's
that.
all good. Too late now.
I thought it was a good time to throw that one in for this show.
Yeah,
It's just too funny, though.
Yeah.
It's too good.
I can clip
love
it out in the replay. It's not a big deal. Everyone
welcome,
loves it.
Welcome to the show. Hello,
Yeah.
Ritual Dello. Hello to Die For. Mitchell B. How to Bachelor. Prince Malcolm.
Yeah. So we got a good show lined up for you guys today. As you guys know, Michael Svabek is, I hope you pronounced it right, is going to be on with us in a bit. But before we get down into that, we got some new games released this past week. And we also got an update to Mayhem Brawlers. I don't know if you guys caught any of those. Did you get any of that stuff, Brad?
Oh yeah. I have Mayhem Brawlers, and I also have Ninja Clowns. And I want to go over. I have an update. I want to report on Ninja Clowns too.
All right. But before we get into Ninja Clowns, I just wanted to say that I checked out the new Mayhem Brawlers update, and this She-Wolf character is pretty awesome. And I made this little clip, so check it out, everyone. And here we are. Here is She-Wolf, the new update that has been added to Mayhem Brawlers. And it's always great to get new characters in games, and this character is actually a welcome addition. Reminds me of Blaze from Streets of Rage. So yeah, she's definitely a fun addition to Mayhem Brawlers, and I definitely think if you haven't gotten the game, you should get it and check her out, as Dr. Peter Vickman says.
Okay, so she's a dog.
Had to throw that in today. Had to throw it in. I know Prince Malcolm will appreciate that. Yeah, and so, but that's not the only update we got. As Brad alluded to, we got a Ninja Clowns update as well, and let's check that one out real quick.
This is Papa Brad with a quick update on the game Ninja Clowns. Something new you can do: hit the coin mode. You can select where you only have one coin. You only live once. 50 cents. How far can you get on 2 coins? How far can you get on 4 coins? $1. How far can you get on $5, $10, or you can leave it a free play. This is just another update to the game. It's a nice add-on. Adds some challenge to the game. Ninja Clowns update on iiRcade. If you haven't had a chance, check out the Ninja Clowns review on Papa Brad's Gaming. Yes, it's reviews where we actually play the game. We don't just look at the preview video. And this one's a pretty fun game. I'm still going to say, if you haven't played it, if you like beat 'em ups like The Simpsons, give this one a try. You might like it. If you don't like it, refund the game. Absolutely no risk. That's one of the great things about buying games in the iiRcade store. Here's kind of just a fun montage of some of the bosses and some of the cool art and enemies that you'll encounter in your adventures as a ninja clown. Visit my channel for the full review of Ninja Clowns. Really fun game. While you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, check out the other iiRcadians. Like and subscribe to their channels as well. This has been Papa Brad with an update to Ninja Clowns.
Well, there, yeah.
So are each of those modes their own? I think we talked about this before. They each have their own leaderboard, right?
They each have, they limit how many coins you get. So they have YOLO, you only live once. They have 50 cents, 4 quarters, and then they have I think other modes too. I don't know.
How the Bachelor says if it's Papa approved, he's got to try it. So I was putting together a poll here while we were doing this, and so I want to give everybody a chance to vote in the poll, and we'll talk about it later in the show with Michael. So the question is, should be coming up there in the chat.
There it is. I see it.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
I'm not good. Oh, there we go. Okay. What's more important? So the question of the day here is, what's more important, online play or new titles? So like when we're talking with Michael, we're going to talk about what's kind of prioritizing their time, and what's more important to, and I'm interested to find out what's more important to him and what's more important to their team, and also what's more important to the audience. I'm sure they'd like to know what's more important to all of us. So vote with your mouse, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I played one of the games. I did a little video talking about Taco Bell stuff, and I was playing that. I'll tell Michael later what I thought of that game, but Mikey's got a review spotlight coming up here for one of them. CT Jason, did you play any of these games?
No, to be honest, I didn't get a chance to play none this week. I just got back. I was on vacation. I ran into a basketball player a couple weeks ago. I was at a party. Somebody got a snapshot of it, throw it up on the screen. Let me show you who I met real quick.
Who'd you meet?
Oh, you'll see. I was shocked. I see you at the party. You know what I'm saying?
You saw him at a party?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
other than that, I didn't get a chance to play the games. I'm going to try them out.
Shaq's pretty tall, it looks like. Either that or you're
Shaq's
really
a little bit taller than me.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Hey, but I bet you could still take him though, couldn't you, CT? You know.
Oh, of course, but I ain't going to disrespect the man at his party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can still take it.
Nobody messing with Jason.
That's right.
These are
I got that picture. I'm going to save that. Put it on the wall.
So these are the kind of shenanigans, guys, that we post up in the iiRcade, the iiRcadians Facebook group. So if you're not part of that group, go join that group, because we're always posting our videos up in there, talking about stuff like CT Jason meeting Shaq. Yeah. So, okay, before we bring Michael on, we wanted to play the one game that came out this week was the basketball game. Mikey played that extensively, right?
Yeah, I did. And I give it the old 2 thumbs up. I mean, and as you will see here in the video, we can talk about it when I'm done. And here we are with another Strata release game, and this is Rockin Rim Basketball, released in 1991. It has a price of $9.99 and is ranked 242 in the iiRcade store. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I have been a big basketball fan ever since my youth. I actually am a pretty die-hard basketball fan. And as such, this game immediately got my attention. I noticed that it was 5-on-5, more of a simulation type experience, as opposed to the more traditional 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 type of action that you typically see in the arcade format. So this is definitely going for more of a realistic type approach than it is for something more silly like NBA Jam. And this game actually reminds me of NBA Live 95, which I grew up with on the Super Nintendo as well as the Sega Genesis. And this game has 3 different modes. It does have a 3-on-3 mode. And unfortunately, there are only 2 teams in this game. There is an East All-Stars and a West All-Stars. And they are both composed of fictional players, so none of these players are, real NBA players, unfortunately. But despite that shortcoming, it doesn't change the fact this game is fun. I mean, did you see that? Let's do a replay. Look at that. Look at that rim, backboard breaking, glass shattering dunk. And as I was saying, this game immediately reminded me of NBA Live 95. And so that really got my attention and got me thinking, that I wanted to give this game a try. And when I saw it was released, as you see me breaking another backboard, I knew I had to give it a go. And let me just say, guys, that while I wouldn't say it's as smooth as NBA Live 95, it's definitely, you can see that the foundation that became NBA Live 95 was actually built upon this game or something very similar. And I gotta say, it's actually a lot of fun to play. And when the online comes with this game, I think it could really have some good potential here on the iiRcade. You know, I know that I have enjoyed it thus far. It's, like I said, it's more of a simulation type experience, a more of a realistic type basketball approach, and I actually kind of appreciate that about it, and I've really been enjoying getting into it. It's a fun game, guys. It's a fun, good basketball game. Where it lacks in official NBA license or NBA players, it makes up for it with just good gameplay and just being a fun game. And really, that's what it's all about, is the gameplay, right? Just getting in and having a good time. And the fact that this game does actually offer like a tournament mode style gameplay when the online comes could offer up some very interesting possibilities. And while I'm not going to sit here and say this game is going to make anyone forget NBA Jam, of course not. When we think of arcade basketball games, NBA Jam is what's going to come to mind. But having said that, this while it was released as an arcade game, this is not an arcade style game. It is a simulation style game. And as I've been saying throughout this video, what that means is it's more authentic to the true basketball experience. You're not going to see the over-the-top flying through the air, dunks, or anyone saying, you know, he's on fire. You're not going to get any of that. It's going to be a much more, you know, experience that you would expect by watching a real NBA game, even though this game does indeed lack NBA players. But even though it doesn't quite have authentic players, they did something kind of fun in this game as I was playing it, and that is a lot of the players, while they're definitely their own created players, they share some similarities with some actual NBA players from that time. Like that player right there, his name is Isaac Gordon, and he's good at dunking, and he's got a good jump shot. And so, I mean, Isaac Gordon, Michael Jordan, and he plays on the East All-Stars. You know, Michael Jordan, he played for the Chicago Bulls. So I'm saying that could be a little hint, hint, wink, wink. And then this player, his name is Dave Maloney, Moses Malone. Hello. So
it's actually Karl Malone.
Cheaped their way around some NBA players in this game. It actually does kind of have them in its own unique kind of offshoot way. And as I've been saying, it's just, this game is just kind of a lot of fun to play, and once we get online, it'll be a good time. And Akeem Jenkins, Akeem Olajuwon, Isaac Gordon, Michael Jordan, and this dude, Earl Elijah, I don't know who they based him off of, but that dude's got a jumper. He can hit the threes. And as you can see, it does have some scores and some stat tracking, so your high score chasers, that could be fun possibly well in the future if we get some online leaderboards possibly. So there it is.
All right.
$9.99.
Before you asked,
$9.99.
you're like, he's going to ask.
$9.99 ain't bad.
Yeah.
That
All
ain't
right.
bad.
It's the CT Jason approved. That actually, I was kind of gonna pass on that, but that actually kind of looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big sports video game player, but
You know what? It's worth trying. And you know what? If you want to try it and you don't like it, you just give it right back.
That's right. I mean, there's nothing to
true.
lose. You could try any game on iiRcade for up to half an hour, and there's nothing to lose for trying them. It's fantastic.
Well, that's why I say in the video, if you played NBA Live 95 or Bulls versus Blazers or any of those old Genesis EA Sports games, and you genuinely enjoyed them, you know, give this one a go. I mean, it's right up your alley.
so
Sure.
what I want to know is whenever I refund a game, does Michael Shed a tear. I think we should ask him. Without further ado, let's bring on our special guest from iiRcade, Michael Svabek, in the house. Michael, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, what's up,
How's
Michael?
all the
Glad you're here.
iiRcadians? I do cry every single time. Everybody gets it. It's true. I said just a single tear, though. A single tear.
A single tear. Do you get like a notification on your phone? Rainwater just refunded another game.
Connect the server that way, so I know. Like, I can just track you all down. It's fine.
We got all of our information on our machines.
I got information.
It's scary how much he probably knows about us. He's got our addresses, credit card information, everything. I will say this. So, Michael, I tried the Battle Rockets game, and I didn't even make it anywhere close to the 30 minutes. I was about 8 or 9 minutes. I hit the refund button, buddy. I can't.
Right.
It sucked. I can't.
If it's not your cup of tea, that's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Right? So. I get a lot of crap for being like pro iiRcade or whatever. I'm saying to your face, this game is not good for me. I didn't like it.
Everybody's not going to like every game. We understand that. It's the whole point. So.
But you know what? There's a lot of really good games that makes up for it. So I'm okay with that.
There's a ton. With over 300 games, there's plenty of great games for everybody.
Yeah.
No
Somebody downloaded Battle Rockets and really liked it. Somebody out there, I'm sure. It just wasn't me. Well, Michael, so you're kind of a big deal over at iiRcade. You wear many hats. I know you work with like the customer service team and the QA team, and you do a lot of stuff hands-on yourself. Can you kind of give us a little background for those who don't know you? Like, sure. What exactly do you do at iiRcade? What's your role?
So I'm the director, the executive producer at the company. So I do a little bit of everything, like you said. I do deal directly with our customer service team. So I do see your messages to them and things like that. A lot of times they'll come to me and ask, like, can we do this? Can we do that? Or like, how do we want to respond to this? I deal with all that. I deal with, our QA team, of course. So originally I was hired in for just testing as a QA lead. So I did that. So originally it was just me actually testing the game. So all those 11 preloaded games and things like that, a lot of the Sega games and stuff that released really early on, that was actually just me testing those. So I did all that back in the day. I still do games testing. I work directly with all of our developers. So we license the games and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm the one who fully does kind of all that stuff too. I let our CCO and stuff take care of the actual license deal itself. But beyond that, it's usually just me talking one-on-one with the developers. I help them deal with problems if they arise on systems and stuff like that. Software updates like we're testing right now for system updates. I do all that stuff. A little bit of design. I'm the one redesigning your entire user interface, so you can blame me for that right now too. A little bit of cab design kind of stuff too.
We'll talk about
marketing, business, legal. I don't know what I kind of don't have a hand in at this point at the company, so.
That's probably a better question. What do you not do there? Like, do you clean the toilets?
Yeah.
Or
do you get lunch?
I mean, I restocked the kitchen like yesterday.
He's getting coffee for John, and
usually John gets his own coffee, but I do usually purchase it from Amazon to get it there. So
technically, you are getting the coffee. That's awesome.
a little bit of everything. So which is awesome. I love it. So
yeah.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit about like how you started at iiRcade, right? So you were a QA tester, though, right?
Yeah. So originally, I was really hired on as a QA lead originally, just to test the software, test the game specifically. So I'm coming from AAA games and things like that. So as well as other things too. I've worked for big companies like Disney and Bethesda and Blizzard and stuff like that. So I'm coming from the game space. That's what my degree is in. I am a game designer by trade. So I kind of got pulled into production now too, just because I'm pretty good at picking stuff up really quick. And so the company kind of noticed that, and yeah, here I am today.
So you said Blizzard. So let's alienate half the audience and find out, Alliance or Horde?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Horde.
It's so loaded. Do you guys think that I'm Horde?
I'm an orc, I was
in a top 3 guild
called
Nexus back in Vanilla. We were top 3 in the world at one point. Back when I played, that was when I was
really
like 15.
That's pretty big.
I've been Alliance for life.
Back when you were 15. Oh, you're just a baby. Oh man,
that was when the first came.
Alliance. Yeah. All right.
Alliance.
Let's get. All right. So that was our guest, guys.
I got a question real quick. I was just wondering. I noticed John. He's been in Korea a lot. Does that have something to do with the new model? What's going on? I know you can't say, but tell me something. What's he doing over there?
He's doing a lot of things over there too. He's wheeling and dealing for the most part, so he's having a good time. But yeah,
sounds good.
It has a little bit to do with the new machines. It has a little bit to do with games. It has a little bit to do with everything. So
that's better than nothing. Dodging them questions, good. All right, somebody else.
You got to remember that our store license, when you first create an account too, remember that it does say that you can only create an account if you're in the U.S., Canada, or Korea. Right? So there are reasons that we're over there. So.
I see.
Well, let's talk about these new cabinets. So you mentioned that he's over there kind of doing stuff with the new cabinets, but so like was the Mayhem Brawler design, was that one in the works prior to this new?
Yes.
What are we calling the new one? Is there a name for this?
We're still kind of nailing that one down.
Is it the 2.0? Is it the new edition? Is it the
iiRcade Illuminati special?
Illuminati special.
It's just the next. It's the next iteration of our cabinet. Is really what I like to call it. It's just the next iteration of iiRcade right now. So it is different. There are different features sort of coming to it as well too. And again, we'll talk on this. We'll give everybody the rundown before pre-orders.
Is a name in the works? Because like people want to know what to call it. Like,
I know.
We don't want to seem like we don't know what we're talking about.
I mean,
right?
Bobby took the name Nexus from. He took my good name, which was Nexus, and he kind of ruined that for a little bit. So because I can't reuse that now. So we'll see. I don't know yet. That's why it's hard to pick the right name, but. Soon enough. I know you guys need something to call it, but yeah, it's really just it's the next iteration is what being kind of kicked around the office.
All right, next iteration.
There you go. Next iteration for the henceforth.
There will
be here otherwise.
Yeah, there will be differences in it. It's not a complete overhaul of the cabinet. Clearly, it is again, like we've said before too. It's us taking all the feedback for this past year from you guys and stuff like that too, because we listen all the time. I'm telling you that, and then just putting it into the cabinet. Right? You want a lit marquee? We give you a lit marquee. You want
iiRcade marquee edition?
Of course, we got to go partner with JBL and with Harman and Garmin and make our sound system even better. Of course, because why not? But on top of that, too, there are other changes to the cabinet, too. We've talked about the 2-in-1 board and stuff, too. Omega's not a bad name.
iiRcade?
Omega's not a bad name.
That's not a bad name.
Yeah,
said that? Rich Odello. There you go.
Or
Davidson says
Alpha.
Pepsi. The iiRcade Pepsi. I don't think you could do that. I think they would have issues with that.
As if licensing wasn't hard enough, you want to slap a Pepsi label on there and see how that goes.
So was the Mayhem Brawler one kind of already in the works?
Yeah. So I mean, no cabinet just pops out overnight. That doesn't happen. It's just not.
It just kind of seemed weird to a lot of people. Like, okay, they did the Mayhem Brawler one, but it's the old style cabinet. It's not the Omega. You see what
because the new ones aren't available yet. This thing is ready to go out and stuff. And this was always planned to be that way though too. It's always planned to be the current gen for Mayhem Brawler and stuff like that too.
So is it just kind of like a stopgap? So you have something to sell till the new ones come in, or?
No, I mean we clearly still do need inventory, right? So like yes, we do. We're always going to replace.
Do you still have lots of like Dragon Lair machines?
You can still buy Dragon's Lair and Retromania.
Which
currently.
ones are available?
Right now, currently we have Dragon's Lair and Retromania still available. Everything else is currently out of stock and getting replenished, things like that too. If we are replenishing it, depends on the unit itself. But right now, currently the only available ones are Dragon's Lair and Retromania. So again, shipping, absolute nightmare right now. It's even with manufacturing, cabinets that we've manufactured in December aren't here. They're just, that's how it goes, right? Cabinets that we manufactured earlier than that a little bit aren't here, right? MFL. So, there's...
Are you going to be kind of running concurrently, like new cabinet designs with the Omega designs, like all at the same time, like where you can order either or? Is that going to be kind of going forward, or are you eventually going to phase out the old ones?
Or is it going to be like the iiRcade is this? Like,
so we're still playing with that strategically right now too. So I can't really talk on that too much, unfortunately. Okay. Again, the new cabs are still in a design phase, technically speaking. We showed them off at CES, and they are functional, but there are other features and stuff that you guys might not know about yet that might be in those cabs. We don't know either because again, we have to look at costs and things to us.
I'm going to clip that. I'm clipping that right there. There's other features you don't know about yet.
Guys.
Maybe.
Of course, we're always playing around with new features and stuff like that too.
The new cab is going to play all the same games. So if you have a classic, iiRcade, you're still going to be set for everything that comes out, right?
For the current games library and stuff like that, yes, those will all run on both and stuff. We're not, yes,
awesome.
And any current games, there's no plans currently on releasing any current titles that are coming out this year that I know of yet. Again, things always change, right? But that we're not trying to make them obsolete. We're not trying to make your unit in the first year obsolete.
Got a question. How long? This is from the chat. How long before you think the Mayhem Brawlers cabinet ships? Like, what kind of time frame?
It's a great
Love
question.
the art on that one too,
So,
especially the light coming down through the center.
It's a beautiful cabinet. I love the artwork on that one too. If I were to pick another one up, like that's going to be it for me, honestly, because I love comic books. So we'll see. I mean, they're on pre-order right now on the site. If you go to the website, we are only manufacturing 100 of them. So manufacturing times, shipping times, it's really just shipping times is really what you're waiting on too. Once they get to our ports in LA, it takes a week usually, if that even, if not 2 days, honestly, to get to you. So it's really just that gap between shipping overseas, typically with literally shipping lanes. So we'll see. Likely, if you order one now, you might see it within 2 months is probably a safe guess. But don't hold me to that. I honestly don't know because who knows the state of the world right now. Okay. So honestly,
right.
Yeah, it really is. It truly is out of our hands when we ship stuff. It's just, we're at the whim of FedEx at that point.
So you think the newer cab, the Omega, right, which we're now calling it as of 2 minutes ago, you think those ones are looking at 2022, or you think we're still a ways out from those?
2022. We do plan on releasing those this year, like we've said. So, yep. When exactly this year? It's up in the air at this point. So we're still, again, strategically playing with a lot of things too. We are a company. We have to do things the right way. So
I got a little from the chat from
online update.
Online update. Q1 is in 34 days.
That's right.
Are you still on target?
Thank you for counting down for me. I think I have a calendar in my office that says the same thing. Actually.
How many 34 days and how many minutes?
Yeah, right. Well, it's 7 o'clock on the dot right now. See, anyway, yeah. So. Yes, online is still slated for Q4 or Q4. Q1. So, coming out of Q1. So we are still slated for Q1. Will that change? Maybe. We don't plan on it though. No. If we do find out that it does have to be pushed back, we'll let you know as soon as possible. But no, currently we are still slated for Q1, and we plan to stick to that. So yeah, that's my plan. That's my release schedule too. So. We're working hard on it. Don't you worry on that. So,
So are you allowed to say publicly what the games are that are going to be launching? No, can't say that. Okay. There will be some games.
We will be rolling them out in small batches. We have said that multiple times now too, right? So we could, just because we want to control how it functions, right? We want to make sure that things are working before we just break the entire system and can't go back on it, basically, right? So we got to make sure that, with a handful of titles at a time rolling out too, we can actually moderate and look at things and monitor everything properly and say like, hey, we need to work on this area, or hey, this area is looking good. We're good on that right now too. Or we need this feature right now, right? So it's going to be a great slow rollout. So we do plan originally, I think we said beta even too, but we are doing it in an alpha stage really. So bare bones right away is what we plan on. So again, we're going to build off of this nice foundation. It's got to have good bones. That's just how it goes. If it doesn't have good bones, there's no point to it. It's going to crumble underneath your feet anyway. So
is it going to be free?
It's a great question.
It's a really good question.
I don't know yet. So
it's all right. I gotta ask.
We'll see. No, it's a great question.
He always asks about price.
Everyone wants to know the price.
Unfortunately, until we're ready to officially launch it, can't tell you guys that too. We will give you if and when there is a price, we will let you know come that day when it might become available. So, or maybe but yeah. So, again, we plan things strategically, of course, but we also are a company and we have to pivot here and there too. So plans go awry or plans change. It's just the nature of the beast basically too. So I don't want to tell you one thing right now and then it totally changes on you. And then you're like, but Mike told me this. And be like, oh God, I don't know what I did. So
yeah, then you'll be, your toes will be on the fire.
Yes. My toes, I'll be knee deep in the volcano at that point, really. So
right on. Well, let's talk about some of the features and stuff that we are looking forward to. We talked about the online stuff. Sure. I have one that I would personally like is sometimes when I go and I see like on the store that I've got some games that shows that need to be updated, and then I go in and I try to update it and it doesn't update, and I'm like, why do I have some games that won't update? Can we get like a update all button somewhere where we can just hit it and it updates all of our games at once?
Maybe. Also, Chatty Cat has the best comment in chat. Sorry, I saw. Keep it
This is
secret. Keep it safe.
absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you for
that's
the
to
Lord of the Rings
That's
quote.
that's Jong actually.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's his hidden profile.
But yeah, no. So the update, yeah, can be a little bit buggy at times too, and that's something we're working on fixing too. Currently in our system update too, we are working to fix that as well. There's just so many things that can go. There's so many moving parts of software that and you might do it one way where somebody does a whole list of other things beforehand, and that breaks it a different way entirely. So there's a lot of catch-all cases. It's hard to honestly catch them all too. So, but that's a feature that probably not honestly to have like an update all button. But there are other methods that we are looking into right now, of course, too, because we're always trying to improve the features. We're never going to just leave it high and dry. If something's not working, I want to fix it, because again, that all comes back to me and my team too for customer service and stuff too. We see that every day, right? So I see all this stuff like, hey, my update's not working. I'm like, cool, okay, I'm looking into that right now too, and then I take this to my software development team or my firmware engineers and stuff like that too. And we go over that stuff and we say, hey, how can we fix this, or what's going on here? Looking on the back end. So things like that we are looking into all the time too. We want these things to just
totally
work.
Jong. That's totally Jong.
Jong is Chatty Cat confirmed.
He said, "Thank you so very much, my friend." So I don't know. That's got to be him. That's Brad had a question.
Yeah. I'd like to say thank you for fixing the button mapping on Rage of the Dragons.
Sure.
Is iiRcade looking at adding user-defined button mapping? This is something I get asked all the time from people, from a lot of the fans. And the other, maybe you could address that, because people ask me all the time, why is that not an option?
It's something that's, it's not, I won't say it's low hanging fruit on the list or anything like that too. It's not low on the priority list necessarily, but it's also not high at the moment either, right? Online play is clearly my top of the list right now too. Before anything else, online play is happening. Is
button mapping done individually by game, or could it be like I know when we got when we got the Pixel Perfect, it was like a system-wide update where we could do it to any of the games on the system.
Yeah. So
would it be possible to do something like that with button mapping down the road?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of our operating system. And likely, if we were to ever release a feature like that too, it would be done universally like that too, because of literally the way that we have a custom operating system that we use. So we are Android-based, right? And we use Android because we can customize ourselves, right? It is our very own version of Android that we use. It's a very, very unique version of the OS. So things like that, yeah, usually it's just because of the way the system works, we can just do it blanket effect for every game. So that'd be something like in the settings, likely, if we were to do it. So yeah, but features like that, of course, we're always looking into that too.
How about
I want to give you guys these features. It's just,
save states, future possibility.
It's along the same lines too. Yeah. Again, anything's possible in the future, of course, right?
Well, I just want to let you know that I have heard a lot of feedback from fans of iiRcade that do want button mapping. Yep. So I just want to make sure that it's been heard. That's all.
Nope. 100%. Trust me. I hear you guys and all this stuff. Even when you guys don't even know that I'm listening, we're listening. I promise you that we truly do listen to you guys too. Hence the new machines that are coming out this year and stuff too, or like the features that we've given in the past now, right? So we are always working on stuff. It takes time. Like we always say, it just takes a little bit of time. Software development is a tricky beast. So.
How to Bachelor put like 1,500 emojis in.
I know. You asked me about button mapping more than anybody else. Is How to Bachelor asked me that.
And to be honest,
safe states.
But no, other people ask too. I mean, people ask me like all the time.
Yeah, and of course, we're not trying to limit the features on the system. Of course, it's just things take time. So, and we need to pick and choose our battles as they come.
So speaking of features, new features on the system. Swappable decks, is that something that is a possibility, or are we just in fantasy land?
You'll have to find out. You'll have to find out later on. Hardware especially, you'll have to find out. When and if we ever say anything, that's when you'll know. So I'm very tight-lipped on that kind of stuff.
You don't have to move your lips, just wink your eye a little bit at us.
Are we going to get any type of integration with like a jukebox mode, like when we're playing the game, like the PlayStation? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, yeah. So you want to run your connect your phone and stuff via Bluetooth and play your music while you're playing a game too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, we hear that all the time too. Maybe. I have no idea, honestly.
That's not in the works yet.
These are features. I mean, it's not something we haven't thought about by a long shot. So is it in the works? I can't really talk on that either. But these are all features that are great features. That again, these are good requests. Of course, we want to implement these features too. It just takes some time, but yeah, that's when we get asked a lot as well too. Enabling jukebox mode so that you can connect your phone via Bluetooth, play your music over the game too. Yeah, we hear that all the time. So it's a big.
How big is the team that does these like big changes? Like
extremely small.
Is it like one person or like two people or like?
Depends on the team.
Half of a person.
Are we looking at? Are we talking
very
to
small.
them right now?
Are we talking to the team that would be doing this work?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you for all you do because I know you were a big part of getting us our Pixel Perfect, which I know everybody loves that feature.
And of course, so I may have designed the overlays and things for that too, but of course we have our software engineers and stuff like that too who take care of that stuff. Really, they do the heavy lifting, right? I'm just making some pictures for them, and they're really the ones implementing the feature itself and its settings and stuff. So big shout out to them. They do the heavy lifting for me. So I work with them to design these features, and then they take control after that, put it in, and implement it for us. So yes, and they're a very, very small group of people. Yes, this is not a massive company by any long shot. So. Yeah.
This comment, put that back up from Raven SPE. Yeah. This is very important feature that we need to get. He wants a beer holder.
I feel that to my very core.
He's holding a beer right now.
However, there are some third-party options, right? So plug for Uplay Arcade, Uplay. Yeah. So Gunther, if you want to talk to Gunther, of course. So Uplay Arcade, he will hook you up. You can purchase a attachment that goes on the side of the machine right now too to hold your beer, and it's great. So it just literally you undo the screw, you screw it back in with the holder, you're golden. So it's great.
These guys in the chat are over analyzing every word out of your mouth.
I totally know they are too.
So let's talk about. I know that here's a feature that I know that you guys are working on, and that's user interface improvements, right? So
sure. Yeah, we've announced that in the past. Yeah.
How far along are we? Actually, first let me ask. What's the problem with the current user interface? Because I kind of like it. I mean, what are the things that are changing?
Functional, which this is our biggest gripe, right? So it's functional by a long shot. Nobody ever says that it functions kind of poorly. It does a little bit kind of here and there, but like generally speaking, functions great, super simple, where people can just turn it on and go at it too. That's what we want no matter what for UX. We want it simple, but it looks bad. So it doesn't look the best. It can look better.
Looks like the PS3 to me. Like
it's just not as pretty as you
PS3
people want. Yeah, okay.
And again, a visual aesthetic like that too is something that's it does make a difference on the machine too, especially when you're a premium product. Like we are, of course, like you felt our components, we're a premium product. So we want the interface to look that way as well too. And that change will likely be coming later this year.
I know we talked about online already, but I mean, another thing that would be great is if we could do tournaments.
Yep.
Because online really brings a whole new component.
I hear you on that one too.
Very exciting for iiRcade.
Yes.
To have a whole have ability to play online and have tournaments and things like that.
Yeah, so of course we want you to stay on the cabinet as long as possible too, right? So like a feature like tournaments in particular for online keeps you on there longer and keeps you more invested in the machine, right? Keeps you just engrossed in it more, which is great. So we want you, I guess sitting there for hours at a time. But no, tournaments are great. We'll see kind of what comes with online. Again, there's plenty of features we do intend to add to online that you're not going to see right out the gate. We just don't have the infrastructure to do it right away, honestly. Honestly speaking, that's kind of the thing. But once the foundation is there, again, these are features that are a lot simpler to add than online play, I would say, a lot of the time, right? So something like a tournament where you just input brackets for people and stuff like that on the machine, possible, sure. Why not? Anything's possible. So, and of course, these are features that we'd like to add. Just don't expect them instantaneously, I would say. However, the state of online when it releases versus the state of online by the end of this year, we'll see. You guys saw how much we did last year with this software, right? So
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
You'll see kind of how far we go this year as well too. I have big expectations for this year, big plans that we have. So
I guess the fear a lot of the fans have is like we don't want to feel like it's slowing down.
Yeah,
and first year was such a whirlwind.
I know.
And you really came out of the gate, and it was so amazing in the first year how much you accomplished. I think some of the fans feel like we're slowing down a little bit, even though that might not be. You might be doing a lot, especially with all you've got going on.
Yeah. And I mean, especially when a lot of things are back end implemented, like online play, right? So like online play is a big feature on the back end, say, right? For us. So like that's a lot of work. However, you might not see that kind of work, right? So it is a sort of different different thing entirely too. But yeah, and it is hard to, that sophomore slump kicks in a little bit. Sometimes that sophomore slump is a real thing.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, we're trying to, don't do, try not to kick that in. But yeah, I mean, just remember, it's only been a year. And again, we're a company that evolves with feedback as well too. So we always appreciate the feedback from all of you guys, all the community members and stuff like that too. We do listen, we do hear you. We just, again, we have to pick our battles at the right times and things like that. So this year we have plenty of big plans, plenty of big features upcoming and things like that too, that we just haven't talked about yet. But it is sure a slower year because machines were coming out at, December, like Christmas Eve and New Year's this past year, right? So you're used to that full year of just hundreds of games releasing nonstop and software updates and new features and all this and all that. And now we hit January, stuff like that too. It's a little bit of a different
300 games in a year. That's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It takes a lot. So
very fast.
I gotta say this: when P-Dubs had Jong on the stream,
sure.
at one time, he told him, "Jong, I want you to do a double dragon skin. I want you to do a Dragon Slayer skin," and you guys did it. Mm-hmm. So I want to give you what I want. Let's see if you'll do it. Right? You mentioned the swappable decks.
Jeff. No Sailor Moon. No Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon.
No, here's what I'm going.
There's always the black edition.
This is what I want for on my deck, right? Because obviously you're in the new Omega. You're taking the stuff out of the control panel. You're putting it behind the monitor.
The next iteration.
The next iteration. I would like to see, in place of the second player, like take the second player controls and replace that with a trackball and a spinner. You've already got a whole bunch of games in the iiRcade.
A one-player control deck.
Yeah.
It's funny because
but add those other features. Yeah.
Sometimes people say, "Hey, I want a one-player control deck," and sometimes people say, "Hey, I want a four-player control deck." So it's funny to always have both going both ways. Right?
What are you saying, Michael? A four-player control deck?
I'm saying zero things about anything even related to a swappable control deck. I'm not even talking about that whatsoever. So if and when we might even ever do something like that too. Yeah, no, we know you might want features like a spinner or a trackball, of course, too, a light gun, a steering wheel, pedals. These are all accessory kind of plays and things like that too. And of course,
I didn't say that. You said that.
I know.
You
but
said that.
But like, we know you want these kind of things. We're not dumb. We're not idiots, right? So will they ever come? I don't know. But we do look into these kind of things. So even if you don't know that we do look firmly into these kind of things. So it just, again, it takes time, and especially when you're talking hardware along with software development, that's a lot. So we are gradually growing, of course, to actually rapidly growing usually. Last year we grew a lot. We're growing still this year too. So we are a growing company. So again, it just takes time. It sucks to say, like, just be patient. It's coming. I know, like, I get it. So, but
I have a follow-up question. Speaking of, you said the company's growing. How well are things growing in Korea, may I ask? Because, I would love for the iiRcadians to take off in Korea. That would be awesome.
To take off in Korea.
We'll have to see, right? So currently, I don't know that cabinets are available in Korea. So we'll see. I mean, we'd like to expand worldwide, right? That's always a goal. What company wouldn't have that kind of goal, right? So we'll see. We'll see by the end of the year kind of thing where we are. Again, it's a long year. It's early in the year. It's still February. It's still Q1. We can't just lay it all out there right away and then, that's it. And then we'll get complaints the rest of the year being like, "Oh, why aren't you going to add this feature? Why aren't you going to add that feature?" Right? So that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, so we'll see. If we ever expand across the seas, especially, we'll get an iiRcade Korea team. Why not?
So we'll have some
iiRcadians.
We'll have some more questions, a little bit more revolving around games, and maybe some more from the chat here in a bit. But let's talk about this kind of topic of conversation we thought would be a good one to discuss with Michael.
The poll.
And we got to get back to the poll too.
I'm excited about the poll.
So here's the topic, right? It's who is the iiRcade for? And I want to kind of go around and get everybody to chime in on this. So Papa Brad, what do you think? Like, what's the target audience for the iiRcade? Who do you think it's for?
I think the iiRcade is for anyone that wants more options in their home arcade. I mean, I love it. I have machines from all the companies, and I just like having more options. And I love the way they have modern games and they have retro games. So for me, I mean, I think it's for anyone that wants to expand their choices in their home arcade. And I like the fact that with the iiRcade, you always have something to look forward to because there's always new games coming into it, because it is online connected and, we have a store and it's always, you can get fresh stuff. But I love it. I'm saying keep doing what you're doing. Get us some of those classics and do them legitimately. Like make them really good. Make them count. It's better to have really well emulated, perfect classic games than a ton of games. Just get the ones that you have and get them good.
And,
Right.
and I'll chime in next, and I'm going to take the opposite approach, and and say who is the iiRcade maybe not for, and who maybe it might not be for is if you are coming into arcades, these are something you're interested in, the home arcade bit stuff, and you want to play Street Fighter 2. That's the game that you really want to play. Then the iiRcade is probably not for you. You should probably just go get that one over there and play Street Fighter 2. Same is true for Pac-Man, or if it's a very specific game that you are wanting to get, unless that specific game is Double Dragon or Dragon's Lair, then get the iiRcade. So that's my 2 cents.
Killer of
Man, for
men.
me, real
CTJ.
quick, the iiRcade, I like it because I can build it how I want it. I don't just gotta take a whole bunch of stuff I don't want. I can pick and choose. You know what I mean? I can't do that with the other ones. It's either I get a certain amount of 2 or 3 or 4 games and that's it, or I just put a whole bunch of stuff on something. But this one, they make sure every game works the right way, so I can get it how I want it, working the right way. I like the iiRcade. I just need some more games. I need some AAA titles.
I think that's where I'm at too. I'm with the CT Jason on this one. I like it because I can curate my game library, the games that I want. I don't have to sift through 1,000 games. I've got my 150 games on mine. So a smaller group, but they're ones that I picked that I actually liked. And if I didn't like it, I refunded it and made a tear come down Michael's face.
Can we highlight a couple friends in the chat had some really good comments?
What's the chat saying about
we
this?
had Kev Gret said, anyone who wants a premium arcade experience, we put him up, with the ability to add games.
It is a
Rich
premium
Ordello
experience,
said that iiRcade is not for the nostalgia-bound appearance, folks. Although I would say, maybe a little bit, but the Dragon's Lair for me, even though it's not the shape of the original cabinet, it was definitely a nostalgia buy. Like when I saw that cabinet and I heard Dragon's Lair was coming, that was it. I was sold. I knew that I wanted to check it out. So I think a little bit that could be, depends on what y'all do in the future too. Because we don't know what's coming, but I'm sure more is coming down the road.
And as far as, the games that are on there, like I'm having a blast just diving into the library that exists, because let's be honest. We can all play a lot of these games in many different fashions and ways, but the community that the iiRcade has built, chasing these online leaderboards, and then once the online comes, that's what's truly going to make it a unique experience. So much so that you're going to want to be a part of it, and the games that are on there are just going to shine through that online experience.
Well, what I think is great is it complements the other home arcades that I have really, really well, because there's a lot of people that want to try and make it like those. And it's like, why doesn't it have this? It's like, no, it's a complement to those.
I like that it's different,
Yeah. What do you think, Michael? What do you think? Who do you think the iiRcade is for?
So, of course, this is a question that
you're like everybody.
Every day of my career here, basically, right? So, yeah, it's fun. So it's good. You always get people asking for both sides of the fence, right? Some people get it for more modern games, right? Like shout out to Mad Dads. He always asks every time I watch the stream with him. He's like, "Hey, I want iiRcade to have more modern games." And then I have other people going the opposite way than him, right? I've got like Dave Haworth and stuff who's saying, "Hey, I only want retro arcade games," right? So we get both ends of the spectrum nonstop, right? And then there's people who want a bit of both, right? So you've also got to cover them. So we're in that weird category where it's who do you please, right? And it's kind of a little bit of everybody. So you got to pick and choose a little bit of what goes into it. But on top of that, the shape of the cabinet, the skins and stuff that we have too, of course, like Brad said too, sometimes it's a nostalgia buy, right? The Dragon's Lair, it's a nostalgia buy for some people, right? Others, it's not a nostalgia buy because they like Dragon's Lair a lot, but they want that replica arcade machine of Dragon's Lair, right? So that's their nostalgia buy. So it's always fun to hear everybody's feedback on things like that, right? So who is our machine meant for? Honestly, it's kind of everybody, which is what we go for. So we do include the games that we include, right? So like you could go buy a Dragon's Lair machine, right? You could go buy a $700 machine for just Dragon's Lair, right? But we've got it right here too. And then we also include Double Dragon, which is also another $700 machine you might buy on the other side, right? And then you might also buy, we've got some other bangers on there too. Beach Buggy is its own kind of monster, which is fun, which we love that Beach Buggy Racing took off. So that's fun. Like you might not buy an arcade necessarily for that, but like it's great to have on there because it's a new modern kind of fun racer.
And I'd never heard of it before iiRcade.
Yeah.
And
Most people hadn't, but it does great.
As a fan of real arcades, which I go and tour all the time, and that's a big part of my channel, as a fan of real legitimate arcades, one of the things I like about it is when you go to a real arcade, all the machines are different, They're different cab shapes, they're different styles. And I like that it's different than my other machines, Sure. And I think, that's really a benefit, not a negative, that it's different.
Well, let's take a look at the poll, guys, because I'm going to jump ahead because Michael was asking about it. And this is important. Information for you here, right? So the question was, what is more important, online play or new titles? What do you guys think people thought were most important?
Ooh, it's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the new titles.
I'm gonna say new titles.
New titles. Okay. The poll. We're ending the poll now. The poll was 64% of the people said it's more important for new titles.
Yep.
And 36% said online play. So about a third of the people said online play.
I have a good answer for that, though. That's typical.
Okay.
That's an expected answer, I would say. That's an expected sort of the 60-40 is about right. That's what I would expect it to be too. So online play. Very important, right? Why? Because you want to be connected with your buddies, right? I want to jump on there. I want to play with my buddies. That's it. That's what I get an arcade for. That's what I personally get an arcade for too. Some people might just want to play on their own too. Those are people who want new titles. So that's kind of how it works as well too. But why not have both? That's the whole point of the system, right? So we want as much online capability as possible so that we can connect everybody to their friends and make new friends, right? We're a big growing community.
Absolutely.
Why not meet some new people, play some games, have fun together? That's what it's all about, right? This is all games. So it's not like we're saving lives here. This is games, right? We're just having a good time. So, and then on top of that, of course, you want bigger and better titles, right? So some people are just solo players and they don't even really care about online. We got those guys on our system too, or those gals. Why not? So we kind of got to balance the fence all the time too. But yeah, typically people are just like, I want some stoked new titles right now too. I want to get really amped up on this game, right? Whether I don't want to name games right now, but yeah.
Let's talk about games. Let's go into games a little bit.
Let's see if we get one to slip.
Yeah.
Mikey's got a.
Let me finish off that really quick. Actually, one last statement there too. Online play is important for longevity of a game too. I think Kev Gretsch just said it.
That's true.
Or somebody just said it. I don't know.
Mr. Miami Cuddles has a good thing. He says online will bring new life to the games we've played.
Yeah,
and that's true. Right? I mean, I can't wait to play some of the games I already have.
Yeah, and it adds that.
Them and beat Jeff Rainwater at every one of them.
Like a beat 'em up, especially like Double Dragon, say, right? Like it's cool when you get through it. That's great when you first beat it, and then it kind of gets a little bit boring after a little while, right? But then you can jump in again. Like now you got friends to play with and stuff like that too. Now there's a whole other monster too. Now we can do different competitions for speed runs and things like that potentially.
Oh,
it has a whole new thing to it, right? A whole new feel to the game that was kind of stale to you, right? It brings a whole new life to it. So that's a perfect way to put it.
So could you give us a wink on Double Dragon if that's going to be one of the first ones to come out online? Did we get a wink?
Double Dragon is
not going to wink.
We'll see.
Definitely.
Do you want Double Dragon online? Is that what you guys want?
We want Double Dragon online. We want Double Dragon. We want to see the wink, Michael. We want to see the wink.
I want Battle Rockets online.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about Battle Rockets.
Okay,
why did we get Battle Rockets over some of these other games? Because there's a whole. Hold on. I gotta pull this.
Why did we get Battle Rockets over Gunbird 2? Gunbird 2 was in the original release list.
It's just development time. So Gunbird 2 is still a game that's in development. It hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't. We haven't lost that license or anything, I should say. Right. So yes, Gunbird 2 is still in development too. Some of these games are very specific games too, right? Think of this, the Psycho games actually in particular. We're the only ones who have the Psycho games, right? You notice you don't really see the Psycho games anywhere else. Gunbird 2, Dragon Blaze and stuff is another game that we've announced is still in the works as well too. Yep.
Are you saying those are?
I got a spreadsheet, Michael.
Wait, there's a list.
So this is a spreadsheet I started a long time ago. Do you remember when we had a Kickstarter? There was a lot of games And some of these games were from the Kickstarter that haven't been released yet. And I wanted to ask you about them because I don't know if is there a specific like roadblock that's like for some of these that it's just holding up a whole bunch of them? Because there's about 50 games here.
Yeah, there's some bangers on that list.
I know there's some bangers on the list.
Truxton 2, Zero Gunner. What's the story in some of these?
Number 2.
Look, I didn't want to leak anything tonight.
I'm not asking you to leak anything. If you could talk it generally speaking, or is there any particular? I mean, if you want to leak something, don't let me hold you back.
I love that you talked about Truxton right there, actually, too. By the way, fans in the audience right now, too, I've not mentioned any of these games to them tonight, which is kind of funny that they said Truxton, because Truxton will be released very soon after a system update's available. So stay tuned on an upcoming system update, and then pretty close to following that,
exclusive
Truxton. So yes, Truxton's a classic. If you haven't played, it's a classic shooter.
Truxton's coming tomorrow. Shh.
Truxton's coming very soon, but stay tuned for a system update too.
There's a game on there I want to specifically ask you about Pilot Kids. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was an old Sega Model 2 game, correct?
Yeah, so that and oh my gosh, there's 2 other games too that are Sega Naomi titles as well that are in there.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Zero Gunner, was that one of them?
Zero Gunner 1 and 2. That's right. Yep.
What about? Have we heard anything about Residual?
So if we get
that getting announced a long time ago,
I don't think that's ever been on my list, honestly, but I gotta ask.
The Omega Race, is that the arcade version or is that like the ColecoVision version?
That's Omega Race, I believe, is Coleco. Yep.
Okay.
All these ones that have a date next to them are the ColecoVision ones.
Oh, okay.
Like Hellfire,
Yep,
Evolution Soccer. What happened to that one?
All those games from the original list are still currently being worked on. So yes, they have not gone anywhere. They are still fully in the works. I promise you that.
The Fallen Angels is a cool looking
Daraku
game.
Tenshi. Yes. So Daraku Tenshi is a fun one. If you look up the history on Daraku Tenshi, you should look up the history on Daraku Tenshi and see who it's made by, who the developers were, and what it was supposed to become. So I love that game.
I got homework. Absolutely.
I mean, obviously some of the stuff Nico goes
Mr. Brian Cuddles that's for Sega 18-wheeler. So I'm just going to put it out there. He really likes 18-wheeler. That would be his favorite.
How about all these Strikers 1945 sequels? What's the holdup on those?
So every game, it has a different story, right? So I can't speak on what the issue is necessarily on them too. I know some of them, others I don't even know, honestly, off the top of my head. So, but they are all being looked into pretty much all the time.
There's some bangers on this list. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to kind of point out to everybody.
You guys got me to announce it. You guys got me to early announce the release of Truxton, but yeah.
The thing is, yeah. I mean, we are just curious on what's being worked on. That's all, and that's normal. That's just curiosity.
Yes, games don't fall by the wayside for us. We are still looking into all of them. Again, we are a small development team too. So, and it really does depend on the game too. Different games have different issues that might go on that we have to fix. So they're ready when they're ready, honestly.
This question to me was interesting from Brooklyn Menace. He says, I always wonder why developers take such a long time to approve games for the iiRcade when they have to be aware people are playing them through other ways and they make no money.
So sure. I mean, arcade games, we develop in-house ourselves. We have to do that. So we license the games through them, but they don't give us the files and things like that. Usually we have to do a lot of those things ourselves. So that's why it takes a little bit longer. We do all that stuff in-house for specifically arcade games, right? Yeah. However, for modern games, that's up to the developer themselves too. Those are out of house. So
I will say too that, like I don't mind buying the even though you have nefarious ways to play many of these games, I've played them enough that like I want to have a really well emulated, optimized experience. And I just want to continue with iiRcade.
Absolutely.
Just make them good. Keep doing what you're doing, because so far you've really impressed me as a huge fan of Real Arcade. How good your ports are of arcade.
Yeah, games. I mean. And we've said it before too, we literally do go to arcades sometimes and play these games before they release to know if they feel proper or not too. Like Double Dragon, we played to death in the arcade before it released to know that slowdown and how it feels and things.
Slowdown is accurate. I'll vouch for that 100%. And you got a nice hello from the Rexer show.
Rexer can talk to you about Double Dragon too when he played it on our machines, and he was like, "Is that slowdown right?" And then I think he went back home that night and played his actual Double Dragon and came back the next day. He's like, "That seems about right." I was like, "Cool."
I think it's funny that you tricked Rexer into thinking that the new sound was already implemented, right? Like, because wasn't it not the JBL wasn't even working
It wasn't at CES. No, yeah,
at
it wasn't
CES?
implemented in the same. Yeah.
But the sound is already so good that
This is
nobody
good,
even
yeah.
noticed.
The sound is great. JBL just makes it that much better. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mikey has a really cool question
Yeah.
about some specs on games. Like,
Sure.
go ahead, Mikey.
Because you were talking about you got the Model 2 game coming and Pilot Kids, and then you got some Naomi stuff in the works as well.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna give you some specs here, and you tell me if you think the iiRcade can run it. Operating system is Windows XP, 1 GB of RAM, GeForce
putting him on the spot.
950 GT, graphics card, 5 GB available storage.
So you know that you can look up our specs online, right? They are right there on that.
Oh, you just
on,
got
on iiRcade.com. When you click on the devices, you can actually see the full printout of what's there.
Well,
So, in case you're
just
ever
off the
wondering,
top
it's
of your
there.
head, do you think they could play this?
I'm trying to. Sorry, I'm looking over my camera right now to see my screen.
Can you read it?
Yeah. 5 GB storage space. Yeah, I mean, so we're a 1.8 gigahertz processor right out the gate, and then we're 4 GB of dedicated VRAM for games, and then our GPU. I have to look into again too. It's been a bit since I've looked at it, so this would be a close spec game for us for sure. I think is what it looks like, especially when you're pushing 4 GB of RAM on an actual PC. It's pretty close, I would say. But I mean, again, it all depends. Every game is optimized differently or optimized poorly, honestly, too. You've seen games like Dead Effect 2 running on our system,
right?
just fine. Whenever there's other games that we've had on our system before too that run a little bit poor, and you're like, why is this happening? Like, why is this 2D game running worse than a game like that, right? So that occurs.
Well, I'm just gonna let everyone know that was the specs for King of Fighters 13.
Makes sense.
And I looked up King of Fighters 15, and the one big thing that I saw in it was that it would just be a memory hog.
Like how big can a game be? Like how much storage space would be the max that iiRcade game would go?
64 for the small.
Like
Really
if you're willing to get a
really,
64 gigabyte game, that's kind of
really about
the
48.
entire thing.
About 48, 50, you're probably pushing it there.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have any games that are that big. Clearly, I think our biggest is almost 2 gigs is really it at this point. So
King of Fighters 15 probably not going to happen because it's that's what is about 60 gigs, right?
anything's possible.
I mean,
right?
it's yeah.
But he did. But you're on record as saying that there's a pretty good chance that the iiRcade can run King of Fighters 13, and that one is a very high quality game.
You can look up our specs online. They're on the website. They're not hidden, so you can.
There's a lot of people that go out there and say, "Oh, it can't handle this, it can't handle that." There you go. You just saw it right there.
Again, it really depends on the game and the developer. As far as specs go, there's plenty of high end titles that are releasing on just PC alone this year that are coming out. That sure, why not? We could run them. It just really depends on how optimized the game is for our system or just in general, honestly. So,
Hey, I got a question for you real quick. Now, I know you can't really say, but is there any game that you would consider a AAA title coming out within the next 6 months?
within the next 6 months?
Within the next 6 months, something that you consider a AAA title. I know you can't say what, but is something like that coming?
Oh, loaded question.
We have some good banging games coming for sure. Yes.
Okay.
AAA depends on your consideration of AAA, right? So some might consider Dragon's Lair a AAA game. Some people don't consider Dragon's Lair a AAA game. I don't really know what the line is honestly anymore at this point. But yes, there will be some banging games coming within the next 6 months easily. Yes.
I had a question I wanted to ask. Who determines what licenses you chase after and which companies you contact? I get asked daily about Capcom.
Sure.
Who determines what licenses you're going to chase after and which companies you actually reach out to contact to try to get their licenses for iiRcade?
It's up to a couple of us, a handful of us, me included.
No pressure.
Again, it's hard to talk on licensing. Again, there's a lot of things that are always in the works that we just aren't allowed legally to speak on. So there's, and of course, like big companies and stuff like that too. We know what you want. We're not dumb. We know what you want. So don't worry about that. But
we write Shredder's Revenge in every chat, man.
yeah, I don't know what Shredder's Revenge is.
I was waiting for one to click on, but we didn't get one yet.
I think it's a He-Man game. I'm not really sure.
I think so, actually. I think you can play as a rat in a sewer. I think is
Something like that.
There's pizza involved, maybe. But yeah, so licensing is a hard thing to talk about, honestly. Just for a lot
Like,
of for a multitude of
is
reasons.
it ever possible to get something like a collection of games, something like Capcom
Sure.
collection that would have like all the Capcom games or a
It
lot of the
depends.
good ones?
It just depends who wants to work with us and things like that too. And it's not even necessarily who wants to work with us. It's do they have the capacity to work with us sometimes too. Sometimes you get a straight up no for one reason. Other times it's like we're a small indie developer. We just don't have the time right now to port to your system. And you're like, we just have to accept that. We're not going to push them to, this or that happens. There's bigger companies too who, maybe they want something else entirely. So licenses, it's its own beast. And again, we can't talk about who we're talking to currently and things that are in the works or other plans and stuff like that, of course. But, just always keep in mind that, like, we do know what games you guys want. We're not dumb. So we know. So
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
I have a follow-up question. Do you have any current licenses or games in development behind the scenes by license holders that we have not yet seen any games from on the iiRcade?
Sure, me.
Oh, so that sounds exclusive.
We'll see.
Besides you, any other ones?
I can't talk on who we're talking to.
I didn't say who. I just said
I can't.
yes or no question.
Probing. Poke.
I mean, we have more
Swappable.
games. We have more games licenses that are in the works. Yes, of course, we have plenty of games coming this year too. We're not. Yes, there's plenty more games to come. So.
Well,
There's
we'll
plenty that you
get
don't know
killed
about,
if we
yes.
don't ask you all the right questions.
There's
Yeah.
plenty of games that you don't know about. Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Another question like we all get asked daily is Dreamcast games, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times,
Yep.
but just one more time, they want Dreamcast games. We all want them. We love Dreamcast games.
Power Stone 2 is my favorite game.
I hear you.
So,
I've never even heard of that, Michael. What is Power Sun? Now you got to tell me.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I don't know.
Are you hitting? We getting Power Stone too? Are you hitting that?
Oh,
Okay.
Power Stone.
Power Stone
Oh, yeah.
too.
Oh, I thought you said Power Sun. I'm like,
I'm just
yeah,
saying that is
We
one of
released
my
it
favorite
today?
games of all time on the Dreamcast. But yeah, so
I seen that. Yeah, that actually looks cool. That would be sick on the iiRcade. That'd be cool.
sure. There's a lot of great games that we would love to have on our system. Yeah.
Well, any other questions you guys have about games? I know he's limited on what he can say on games, but sounds like there's some.
And this is so
awesome
true
stuff coming.
too. When you have a system where you add games to it, reality is it doesn't matter what amazing titles they add to iiRcade because everyone is always going to want.
It's going to
more.
ask for more. Yep, it's 100% true.
That is a true statement. And I mean, right now with the 300 games, I have so many games that I turn on my machine and I love to play.
Yeah.
So I would like to thank you for the games that you have released because right now I feel like I have a lot to play on iiRcade.
Well, we get a lot of people that will say make a comment like, "Oh, they don't have any good games," and then we say, "Well, have you tried this?
Have you
Well,
tried
that?
Oddmar? What's
Have you
that?
tried?" And they go,
Have you tried?
I've never heard of it. It's
and
like
they haven't heard of the games in the store.
Yeah, our goal is never to limit games, right? So we're always going to keep expanding the games library 100% of the time too. And again, our goal is never necessarily to make you need to buy a new machine either too. That's not our end goal, is to make you buy multiple of these machines too, right? It's cool when you do. Of course I want money. Why not? We're a business. I'd be dumb to say otherwise, right? But that's never like maliciously intended to like you have to buy a new machine, like the next generation's here. You gotta buy it too. Cool. If you want to buy it, awesome. We put those new features in for you for that reason, right? But you don't have to, right? So we are sort of, it's the difference between us and other companies a lot of times is that we stake our claim as an arcade console for a reason, because you can buy one and you can just keep curating your library and adding the games that you want to. You don't have to buy a new machine. So that's, like I said, you could pay $700-800 for a Dragon's Lair or a Double Dragon or other games that we have to. Even a Gunbird machine, if you want Psycho, you might pay like $500 for a Psycho machine, maybe, right? That'd be cool. I would pay that.
How
But,
the
like,
Bachelor says
which one
Shovel Knight, and I know you've played Shovel Knight in an iiRcade. You told me that.
Maybe. Shovel Knight's a great game. I love Shovel Knight.
So,
But yeah, so
Anderson
that's
had a question.
someday, maybe.
We getting any new games tomorrow?
that's a great
I'm just
question.
like, it's not me. I'm just saying what the chat
I can
says.
tell you for sure what you're getting tomorrow. I hope at least, barring testing tomorrow too, is a new update. So do stay tuned for a brand new system update dropping. Should be tomorrow. It should be tomorrow. If not, probably Monday, honestly, too. It depends on how testing goes, right? So we do have to test thoroughly through our software, and we have to test ourselves before we can release it to the public. We've been doing that for the past couple weeks. So that's what I do.
All right. Well, guys, unless we have other questions that we want to get out there, we have a game show that we want to do. We decided we want to kind of put you on the spot. So, Michael, you're going to get a chance to win one of these fancy shirts that you can get at Plug Our Store here now. These iiRcadians shirts from our merch store. We'll send it to you in size extra, extra small. Because I know you wear those tight shirts, right?
First off, I'm a medium. First off, I'm a medium.
Sorry, medium. Yeah, so we're gonna give you a chance to win one, but you gotta earn it here. You gotta win it. So here's how we're gonna do this. Where's that graphic at? Let's see. Hold on.
You got it? There it is.
iiRcade timeline for we can't play the actual music. We got a copyright. We're gonna copyright it and play the real music, so we just gotta hum it. Okay, so here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna put. So I went through the games, and I picked from a 11-year span from 1985 to 1995. One game that released in each one of those years. We're going to give you a list of these 11 games, and let's see if you can match them up with the year that they released in.
All right.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right.
How well do you know your own library?
Oh, the games.
I like to think pretty well because I usually have to look this stuff up, but we'll find out, right?
Okay, so here is the list of games. We have Magical Drop, Rastan, Image Fight, In the Hunt, the Astyanax, Cisco Heat, Mat Mania, Battleland Volume 5, Time Killers, Earth Defense Force, and Alligator Hunt. Now, you get some lifelines. We're not monsters here, right? So, Brad, what are his options for lifelines?
Yeah, make me full screen. I'll give them the options, okay?
I'm terrible at dates, too.
Here's what you're going to get. Here's what you're going to get, okay? First one you get to pick. You can check the chat.
Okay.
And you can ask the chat for what year a game came out, what order you think it should be in. That's one, okay? Second choice is the CT Jason reveal. You can select the game, and CT Jason in his voice will tell you the answer, what year that game came out.
I'm going to use that just because.
And then our third choice is a good one. You could pick either the first game in the list or the last game in the list. One or the other. Either or.
All right. So what do you think, Michael? You got 1985 up to 1995.
Okay. So Magical Drop. That's actually probably going to be my hardest, I feel like. I want to say Magical Drop, the first Magical Drop, right, is 1994.
Okay. 1994.
I'm going to be so wrong with this. I'm so bad with dates still.
The nice thing is only one from each year. There's no doubling up of years.
Yeah. So Rastan, I'll give Rastan Red in 1985. Okay. Oh, it might be later than that.
This is tough. This is tough.
Right? I'll stick to my guts. Rastan's 1985 now. No, Rastan's 1987. You know what?
1987. Okay.
Going out on the flyer on that one. Image Fight, 1998. 1998.
1998.
1995 is
1998.
Oh my god.
Are you sure about this one? Let's help him out here, guys.
1985 and 1995.
Let's go 1995. Let's go 1995 on Image Fight.
1995. Okay.
Oh, actually, In the Hunt's probably the latest. In the Hunt's probably the latest on this list. And it's also iRev. It's also iRev. No, In the Hunt's 1994. You know what?
Okay.
The Astyanax, since it's the arcade and not the Nintendo version, I'm gonna go with out on a flyer and ask CT Jason about the Astyanax on this one.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
All right, I got you right here. That came out in 1989.
Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Here we go.
There.
Okay, 1989.
I'll put a little star next to it since we've confirmed that is correct. So we've confirmed that one's correct. Okay. Cisco Heat.
Cisco Heat's 1988. Oh god, this is terrible. This is so bad. I'm so wrong on all of these right now.
Jeff,
Mat Mania is 1986. That's probably actually the oldest, honestly. It's probably 85.
You think
That's
there's
85.
one older than that?
85.
Okay.
Let's
You
go
think
85 on that one.
85? Okay.
Battle Lane 1988. I like 1988.
You already got. You got.
Oh, is
you got
everything a different year?
1988.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay,
Yeah,
if everything's a different
only
year.
1 per year. Yeah.
In that case, Cisco Heat is 89 then. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Wait, no, that's 89.
No, we know Astynex is
Cisco
89.
Heat is 1990. You know what? That's my birth year. Let's go. 1990 for Cisco Heat.
1990.
It's a happy
Okay.
year. Let's go. Time Killers. I swear I know Time Killers too.
You want to ask the audience?
War Combat. Come on.
We have asked the chat. We have checked the chat.
I got
You want to check the chat?
No, 1990.
Not on that one. Okay.
1993 for Time Killers. Let's ask the chat for Earth Defense Force.
What do you guys think in the chat? Earth Defense Force, help them out, guys. Now the chat has access to Google, so they can probably answer this really easy for you.
I'm not cheating right now. My hands are in. Is it 92? 93? It's 92.
Prince
Check the chat.
Earth Defense
Prince
Force.
Malcolm says 93. Mikey on the show says 91. CT
come
Jason
on.
says 91. I think we got some cheaters here. Prince Malcolm says 91. So Richard Dulles says 93 though. So I think you should trust Mikey.
All right. We'll go 1993, and then Time Killers is actually 1992, and then Alligator Hunt's 1991. There we go.
1982, 1991. All right.
I'm
how
gonna
many
get
did
like
we
I'm gonna go
right
for like
here?
0 out of 10 on these, aren't I? Or like I guess 2, the ones that got helped with.
Well, you got one more lifeline. You want to?
Well, how about this? Let's tell them which ones are correct, and
Yeah.
then give them a chance to fix the rest of them.
All
Jeff, put a star by each one that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
You got
so
some correct.
Magical Drop
Make it
is
fair.
not correct. Rastan, you got that one right. Okay, Image
That one's
Fight
ingrained in me.
is definitely much earlier than 1995. That's
Okay.
way wrong. Not even close, Michael. Okay, let's see. In the Hunt.
Wait, I had 2 94s. Okay.
Oh, you did, so they can't both be. Okay, well, In the Hunt, close, but not right.
Very, very close.
Cisco Heat is correct.
Money. That one's
1990.
money. Yeah,
Nat Mania, you nailed that one.
it had to be.
Battle Lane,
No idea.
not correct.
No.
It's probably close. It's in the 80s. It's got to be in the 80s.
Time Killers, you
Killers.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have 1992. I don't know how I did that. I don't
That's
know what.
supposed to be 93 for Earth Defense Force.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's 93.
Well, it's not 93. But
The chat lied to me.
the chat lied to. Well, a couple of people in the chat, man, not a lie to me.
I
Papa Brad probably was correct. Mikey might have been correct. CT Jason.
And Alligator Hunt is also not 1991. So you got a few of them right there. You got a few of them right, and you still got a lifeline.
Okay.
So
I'll lifeline Magical drop the first one because I have no idea when the first one came out. Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea.
well, why don't you ask your first and last question?
First and last.
Because
Okay,
you already
I'll
know
do-
what the first
sure.
one was, right? Because you
All
already
right.
got 1985.
Yeah, let's do first and last then. All right, sure.
So the last one then would be 1995, and that is
Magical Drop.
Magical
Drop.
Drop.
Okay.
What do you think the first is? Looking at the list.
Would this be easier if I put these in order here for
Well,
you?
it's Matt Mania because you got it right.
Let me put these in.
Yeah, it's
order.
not Mania.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I mean, if Image Fight's way out, Image Fight could be 1986. Right.
So we're in the middle.
You don't have an 86.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see.
I'll go with Image Fight. I'll change Image Fight up to 86.
1986. So you think it's like that?
I think so.
And you think Battle Line is 80? You said 88, but that was wrong.
Battle Lane Volume 5 is actually probably 86, and Image Fight's probably 88.
Okay. Image Fight's
This
88.
is really hard. I should.
Do 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 do.
I'll put them in order here for you. So you can... Oh, we're gonna get copyright again. Let's see. Okay.
If I ever went on Jeopardy and they asked me dates, I would instantly just I wouldn't even just no.
But you had In the Hunt, you had 94, and that was wrong.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
something else
Close.
is 1994. What else could there be?
Alligator Hunt.
Alligator Hunt, you think is 94?
Maybe. I
What
feel like
about-
Alligator Hunt's 90.
Then what would In the Hunt be? Earth Defense Force was also wrong.
Earth Defense Force 94. I'll swap those two. Earth Defense Force and In the Hunt.
Okay, so we're saying 94.
Because for the chat said 91 on Earth
93.
Defense Force.
Well, I thought the chat was saying 93.
Is that what
last
the
time.
chat said? Okay. But now, okay, Alligator Hunt, we had 94.
Okay.
No, we had 94 for
Okay,
Alligator
fine.
Hunt
Earth
already.
Defense Force then is 1991. All right. There we go.
So 91, okay. Time Killers, you had 92. That was correct. Okay, you've got 93, 94. I'm sorry, I'm switching them all around, making it harder for you probably here. So, okay, I think we got them in
Okay.
order here. Are you happy with those answers? You want
I'm happy
we
with
should
those
check them?
answers. I'm locked in.
We're locked in.
Or
Okay.
a T-shirt, iiRcadians T-shirt.
All right. So Battle Lane is correct. 1986.
Okay.
Image Fight
I don't know.
is correct.
It's correct.
1988.
Earth
Wow.
Defense Force, because we cheated so hard, is also correct.
Oh, God. These
In
two
the
are
Hunt 93 is correct. And Alligator Hunt 1994. And Michael is a
All
winner.
right.
Michael B is the winner.
Yeah.
That was
Good
tough.
job.
That was
Yay.
tough. All right. Well, Michael, we'll get you a medium T-shirt for the putting you through the rigors of that. That was kind of hard. I've noticed when I did this, there are some years that have a lot of games and others that don't have very many at all. Like there wasn't very many 86 games.
But like 88's got a ton.
88's got a
Yeah.
ton. Yeah. Because I think that's when a lot of shmups hit, like 88, 89, right?
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was a lot of fun, guys. So, all right. Well, I think that was pretty much all we had today. I know this show went a little bit longer than normal, but we had a lot of fun, and we loved having you on, Michael.
Absolutely.
And,
It's good to
Yeah.
be.
we'd
Thank
love
you
to
so
have
much for
back
coming on,
anytime.
Michael.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely a pleasure.
Welcome back anytime. And you know, we could do a team up on a big reveal. I mean, wouldn't that be fun?
Or you let us play that online when you got it ready.
Soon. You got 34 days. Clock is ticking, Michael.
Yeah, 30,
Uh-oh.
Kevin reminded me I got
Uh-oh.
34 days. That's right.
Kevin-
Uh-oh.
said
How to
30.
Bachelor? He's got him marked off on his wall. You know,
He
he's
wants
going.
Metal Slug. He wants Metal Slug. Now, I don't know. That's SNK thing. I'm not sure
Here's SNK.
how tricky that would be. Well, thank you, Michael. Hashtag bring back Michael. You're welcome back
for
anytime.
sure.
Thank you for coming. Do we have an outro?
Yeah, I got it.
Something?
See you guys on the next one.
Thank you, everybody, for joining
Yes,
us.
sir.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, we got the iiRcadians merch store. If you want to take a little piece of the show with you, you can get it right here. Enjoy. We'll see y'all next week.